A dream, but a good dream. A good dream of well-being, a good dream of well-being and of the present. And we'll talk a little about this. What is this good dream of well-being in the present? It's funny because sometimes we get lost in life, politics, and religion because everything in life is a kind of dream. And that's what we're going to talk about today, these dreams. Sometimes you dream, and when you're dreaming, it's an incredible thing that happens to us when we're dreaming. Sometimes when we're dreaming, something happens out there on the street. In your kitchen, there's a noise, something happens. And in your dream, that noise enters the dream and becomes something else. So your perception when you're dreaming uses these senses that are yours. Senses and adjust that sense to what you're dreaming. Seeing it from the scene to what you're perceiving something in the dream, and then you hear a car brake on the street, and that car brake on the street becomes something else in the dream. That's how it is. Reality is like that for us too. Because what really matters about reality is how you hold your beliefs, your ideas, your upbringing, your perception of the world. And within that perception of the world you have, the information you receive, you reconcile it with your perception of the world, and you create in your perception of the world an idea that brings together this information you received. So information, in some previous live streams, I've talked to you a lot about how information is what brings people together, which is the so-called sense of belonging. The same information for a mass of people brings them together in the same sense of belonging. Okay, but this system is already known by all of us, our politicians, by our gurus, our spiritual people, our religions, and they realize that they can modulate a large number of people, inducing them to have a perception of reality that is false. How can I induce someone to perceive the false, a false reality, by controlling the information that reaches people? But don't people have critical thinking? They do. Critical thinking has diminished. But how can I diminish critical thinking? Fear, introduce guilt, introduce desire, introduce this anxiety, this drive to belong, the need to belong. And these people seek belonging, and you take it and now make these people believe or build a structure of perception based on the information that reaches them. Why am I telling you this so much? Because this is important for a good dream. The good dream and the good dream of well-being, the good dream of well-being. You're well, you have a good dream in the now. There's a lot of important information. Why in the now? Because when a leader, a political leader, or a social network wants to kidnap you, they'll always sell you tomorrow or blame you for the past. Their concern isn't with the present. They'll monetize you by trying to sell you a better life right there, right there. It's not here, because here it feels like something is missing. It feels like the information you're receiving is missing. It's the incompleteness you're experiencing at this moment in your life because you're not right here. It's simple. You're not right here. If you're not right here, your dream isn't good. But what dream, Jackson? The one we sleep, and the one we live. Because reality is also a kind of dream common to many people. And this reality, which is an uncommon dream for many people, is also shaped by incoming information. So, who controls information controls the masses. Yes, who controls information controls the masses. And that's what I always tell you about Planet One. The richest 1% in your city, your state, your country, the planet controls the information system. By controlling the information system, you control your dream, how you will dream. This is very interesting. I'm currently traveling around Europe a bit. I'm in Budapest, And in Budapest, you see great monuments. I went to the Budapest Parliament, enormous, all gilded, always imposing, placing power above the individual. And power resides in the individual, in the citizen, and always has, always has. But all the buildings create a very grand structure, instilling fear in the individual, a low critical sense. And fear, I instill in them a dream of reality, a false dream that whoever controls information controls the dream, a good dream. A good dream of well-being in the now, where you are in this one. It reminds me a lot of something that happened a long time ago. I think about 20 years ago. It was a long time ago. One of the companies that was privatized in Sao Paulo. Look, the basic structure of Planet Zero One, of the rich kids, privatize it and it will improve. That's a lie, okay? But they control the information. They say the government, the state, is always heavy and heavy and heavy and heavy, but they live solely off the state. They don't pay taxes, money laundering, tax evasion abounds, tax havens, and leverage in the financial system. So usually the zero one S work there. And when a scandal occurs, they change laws and rules so no one goes to jail, kind of like what's happening now in Congress. Amnesty, amnesty for criminals, amnesty for money launderers, amnesty for the PCC, amnesty. We need amnesty. Representatives can't be questioned about their work, about their dirty dealings. They can't. Yes, but among representatives, mayors, congressmen, senators, and councillors, organized crime is already involved. So can't organized crime be investigated? Is that what's happening? Good dream. Politics has become a nightmare for us, but only politics will solve it. There's no other way than politics. So, politicians, left wing, right wing, all of that, put people on the streets. Let's see who puts more people on the streets. A citizen must have a good dream. He must live well. Now, it reminds me of what I was going to tell you that happened 20 years ago. I had a friend, I worked with a co-worker, he had a problem with the telephone system, one of those problems you privatize to improve and only got worse, you know, and he didn't respect him at all, nothing. And there was a moment when he got up, bought a clown nose, and went to the telephone company to try to solve the problem. He got to the telephone company and said, I have this problem. I've been trying to solve it for a year, and the telephone company wouldn't let me. There's no way. Then he put on his clown nose, banged on the table, and said, now I want a solution now. And he screamed and screamed and screamed until he solved the problem. We can't do that anymore because telephone services have changed so much. They've changed so much that you can't even complain properly. You just complain a few times and it never gets through. We suffer much more now. But the key is now. We have to have a good dream now, not tomorrow. Don't believe your religious leader if he tells you that your tomorrow will be better or that after death it will be better. It's a lie. It's just to get your tithes and offerings. It's a lie. Don't believe your politician who says we have to get a little worse to get better. In practice, these politicians, when they get worse, make a lot of money. It's a lie. Your good dream is now. A good dream now. A good dream of well-being, of your well-being, of my well-being. This country, Brazil, where we live, Latin America, where we live, belongs to Latin Americans. Brazil belongs to the Brazilians. And where is the country's income? It goes to the zero one. It goes to the zero one who controls the information and controls our dreams. It's amazing. I'll go back to the dream again. You're asleep, you went into the dream, you start dreaming, and you're walking in some landscape, and it's nice, a good dream. You didn't drink last night, you didn't eat much last night. Your dream is good, it's pleasant, you're resting. And then there's a noise in the kitchen, in the living room, a little noise, a creak, a meow, a dog barking, and that noise enters the dream. You reconcile the dream with the information coming from outside. When you wake up and return to reality, the information that reaches you through social media is controlled by Planet Zero One, by the richest. and make your dream, make your reality, and make this politics we have, the religions we have. Some say I'm conservative. Okay, I respect true conservatives because a true conservative should see what was conservative before Europe invaded Brazil. Before Europe invaded Brazil, we had democracy, we had states here. Christianity was invaded, destroyed, and imposed here on these Latin American lands, entire American lands. So conservative means conserving forests, conserving rivers, conserving the air, conserving the democracy that existed here before the European invasion. So, what's conservative is interesting. Then you'll see that a conservative uses Christian jargon to make more money and win votes. So, that's not conservative. And what's more, a conservative uses left, right, far right. No, wait a minute. These political movements are European. These political movements aren't real. They don't represent the community. They didn't come from the grassroots of the community. We have to have a different idea of society, a different idea of politics, individual politics, and one individual and another individual. What's good for this? What's good for this? What's good for these? Each to their own. It's good for everyone and it will be good for everyone. Not anymore. Politics is different now. Someone who controls everyone's information says what's good for everyone, and it's only good for the person who controls the information. Title again, Sweet Dream. A good dream is extremely important to you, and that good dream has to be now. It has to be about well being. You have to eat well. You have to practice sleep hygiene. Before you go to sleep, not half an hour before bed, but an hour before bed, you already have a different ritual. Your bath is different, your tea, your bath, your walk, your rocking in the chair. Don't look at computer screens, cell phones, or television because you'll be asleep in an hour. You'll be asleep in an hour, but you've already started sleeping an hour before because now you're going to your dream. And this is the moment for information about your life. Look, seriously, what do you think that no one else is thinking? What have you created that no one else has? What original ideas about your life do you have that no one else has? Your DNA has the perception, the necessary structure to create new ideas. What idea have you created? There's no time because the information that comes in overwhelms us and we shift our attention span. Remember? In the previous live, I told you in 200 milliseconds, your attention span has already been shifted. And then around 200 milliseconds to 400 milliseconds, look, there's already a perception, it's already displaced, you know? And then around 3.5 seconds, there's an awareness of that event. Yes, but what controls the information is other information, other. It took your attention span. And look, false information and false information enters your dreams and creates a different dream, one that isn't real. You're detached from reality, just like when you're dreaming. The noises that occur outside of your dream, those noises, those sounds enter your dream and create within what you believe, within your scenario. Look, return to your beliefs, return to your culture. Information that is false but could be true, it's false from the beginning. You create your dreams, you create your reality, you create your perception. Because this information enters and adjusts your beliefs and makes you have a bad dream. It makes you think that everything in politics is bad. Politicians are bad now. Politicians, this isn't a dream, this is a nightmare. Politicians trying to defend themselves, trying to prevent anyone from investigating them. It's because organized crime has already infiltrated the Chamber of Deputies, the Senate, and the House. It's deeply infiltrated. We now have to focus our actions on the individual. What are the ways to make this happen? The hardest path is to have the idea that your life can be better now, not tomorrow. Right now and within you, you have your three powers. The executive branch, which is where you will execute the idea. The legislative branch, which is where you plan your future. and the judiciary, where you will judge what you've already done. But these three powers within you have a time to enter, and they can't be chipping away at you all the time while you're planning the future, because if you plan the future every day, you won't live in the present. And in fact, you have to live in the now while planning for the future, not planning for the future and losing the now. Understand? Because the now is what you have, the now is reality. But in your memory, there's a processing you have of how things will be. This is very important for everyone. You process, you plan your future, what I'm going to study, what I'm going to do, what profession I'm going to pursue. Everything is beautiful. Simao, you're doing things and planning at the same time. You don't stop doing things. For example, I plan for the future and I'm here playing my games. I'm doing something that won't add value to my future. No, you plan and always ask yourself that question. Look, is what I'm doing now what I plan to do now? Is what I'm doing what I wanted to be doing? Because it depends on what I'm doing, what the social network, what the game forced me to do. Is it my addiction? It will not be my future. So you're distorted, or else, like the planets were, the rich kids, right? Put it in our heads that, look, the enemy is now so and so. Why is the enemy so and so? Because this enemy who is so and so is someone in the government or someone who has great influence in the media and is pointing the finger. Look, this guy is very corrupt, but he's a billionaire, but he's corrupt. So now he becomes the enemy. Then he finds a little problem in his life and highlights that problem. He takes that little problem that's half true, half false, and puts it on the internet and makes a it virtually destroys that person, and they lose power globally at the mass level. And this rich guy goes out there and claims that his company, his process is environmentally friendly, blah, 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 and puts it on television, in newspapers, on the internet, and becomes a company concerned with well being. Lie. But it enters our dreams. Jackson, how can you possibly have a proposal then to improve my reality? Mine, the one listening to me now, the one listening to me now. It's simple. It's simple. Your concepts come from the Brazilian reality if you're Brazilian. If you're not Brazilian, they'll come from the reality of your country where you are. These concepts come from the cultural and religious reality of the environment you're in. They're concepts. But a large part of your life is information someone passed on to you. It's not about what happened. Let's go there again. Much of what you experience is through abstractions. These are things you didn't actually see happen, but you assume they did. That's where the big hook is that will lead you to a bad structure. The people who control the entire information system will give you information that is almost true. But this almost true information will manipulate you so that your reality, your dream, out of bed, your real life dream, become what they need for more business to monetize. That's all. So politicians from the left, right, and all the rest will show what they need to win votes. That's all. Religious tithing and offerings. Is that all? That's all. That's all. But there will be security, peace, something, okay? But that's it. The goal is tithing and offerings. Why? Because the system we were built on is still a European capitalist system from way back from the past, you know? And where profit is accumulation and consumption, profit, accumulation, and consumption. So I want to profit more. I want to accumulate more farms, more cars, more everything. And I want to consume. So I look at a waterfall and see it as a commodity. I look at a forest and want to deforest and sell timber. So have you noticed it's a world closed in on itself? It's a completely deluded world because the ones who put the information in our heads are the very rich people. And because they're so rich, they control the information system. But you can deny the information system, even in virtual environments, and start trampling on your real information, your house, your dog, your gate. Your chair, your desk, your job, what really happened? Did the glass fall? Did the glass break? That's real. Oh, the rumor mill that someone thinks that, and the narrative is the narrative. And these narratives get tangled up and change your dream. Changing the dream, and these narratives change the dream and win votes. So, what's my idea for today's live stream to really highlight for you? Essentially, your dream with your eyes open and closed has to be a good dream. A good dream. Yes, but I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling depressed. I'm lonely. Even with a lot of people around me, I feel alone. Let's change our way of thinking. You'll have to work on the garden. You'll have to work on something. You'll have to work on the internet, writing a book, doing something to have a good life, to have a good dream, because the idea is the good dream. On the political side, I'll give you something. I'll tell you something. 3 political steps to completely change our reality. 3 political steps to change our reality. Breaking out of this strong European colonialism that only makes the richest even richer, or that takes the rich and makes them live off the state and attacks the state so that the state doesn't help the poorest. That's basically it. 01 will always attack the state, so it doesn't give money to the poorest, but they live solely off the state. If you take the state away, they go broke. Naturally, they go broke. So now, with these taxes going from one place to another, it's the state that has to step in, paying for the things that aren't sold. Otherwise, they go broke. They live off the state and attack the state. Yes, but I have a means of information and know everything. Control our minds with the information that reaches us and create a dream for us with our eyes open through social media, newspapers. Sure, okay, how do we change this? 3 simple steps. 3. Pix, it's already happened. Drex, Pix is a money transfer. I think you're already using it, and I'm using it. Drex, it's going to happen at the end of next year, or maybe in early 2027. What is Drex? It's Brazilian digital money. Today, money, when you swipe a credit card, that little number of 15 reais, 20 reais, 50 reais, 1,000 reais that you spend moves money back and forth. This money is digital. It has no backing, nothing. That's how it is. Organized crime loves it. They use fintech, they use whatever, and the money flows everywhere tax free with no backing whatsoever. That's why the Chamber of Deputies is so nervous. All this money power within the chamber is preventing deputies from voting for better regulations. What has this already happened? Drex will happen. The chamber is invaded by organized crime. It's invaded by organized crime. They'll try to prevent this Drex from happening, yes, but the central bank is the one that will implement Drex. The currency is the real, right? Digital real, Brazilian digital money, or digital real, a Brazilian cryptocurrency. When this money enters the market, what happens? Transactions will be backed by one another. Which money went to whom? Organized crime doesn't want that. And organized crime, not organized crime, the dirty kind, like in the underworld. No, the organized crime of Faria Lima there, the organized crime over there, they want backing. They don't want backing. They want to make money by going here and there and speculating and throwing it here, throwing it in the dollar, throwing it there, and that money has no backing. By not having backing, whose money is leveraged? 01. Which are the richest? These richest, of course, who control the entire system. Financial system, and puts a bunch of little avatars there that are controlling it. Invest here is financial freedom. You will live only on interest. It's a lie, but it controls, you understand? And this control also occurs in the Chamber of Deputies through its politicians to try to prevent Drex from entering. Yes, but Drex is from the central bank. And if it is from the central bank, the chamber, I believe, will not have the power to veto, and neither will the government on duty. The Workers' Party on duty, you can try to hold it or not hold it, which is a disaster if you try to hold it, along with Drex, which is the second point, which is Brazilian digital money, which has backing in the economy. It's important for you to know that there's something called retail CBDC. Retail CBDC is CBDC is central bank digital current. Retail CBDC is what you use. The country itself generates the money. When progressive people tell us, look, it's better to borrow money from China because China lends the money and the interest will be cheaper, they say, cool, okay, I understand. The interest is cheaper because organized crime controls the financial system so much that the interest has to be so high. Otherwise, they take that money and start speculating insanely and earn more. So what happens? It becomes complicated to move these structures. And Drex is there, and this Drex will be Brazilian digital money. And these structures don't want it to happen, but it's the central bank and it will happen. And with Drex happening, new things are opening up the market. And that's the third step to changing your entire political reality, including your religious one, so that your good dream can come true now. This is the movement I'm trying to offer, which is Drex Cidadão. What would Drex Cidadão be? Does the country earn or does it profit? If the country profits, the citizen must earn. In my view, money should be generated in the citizen's account. It will have an economic metabolism, understand? And what I said about retail CBDC, this money is generated, it can be generated at the central bank without the need for taxes. Taxes will serve to control inflation. Somewhere where inflation is a little higher, taxes will be raised there to regulate inflation. Because if there is inflation, everyone suffers. Capitalism is here and it continues. And what is this retail CBDC and the loan that some say would be good to do from China because the interest is cheaper? Yes, but China has a retail CBDC and it presses a button, generates money out of thin air, and will lend it to us, leaving us in debt to China. No, I don't want that. I don't think we want that. But why don't we generate it? Because the O1 in Brazil doesn't allow it. Because the richest people in Brazil don't allow it. Because they want money to be borrowed from them at their interest. Have you noticed how evil things are, how profound and evil? These 01s are truly evil, and they talk about kindness because they have a lot of money and do charitable work. And when they do a charitable work, they multiply it to 1 million and show it on television. They're not doing charity work at all because the state could be generating this money. It could be better improving the quality of life of every citizen. But 01 won't let retail CBDC happen in Brazil. Even the IMF has already told Brazil, why don't you use retail CBDCs? No, because 01 won't let it happen. 01 has many representatives in our House and Senate, from the left and the right, and he won't let retail CBDCs happen. It doesn't let the people have a good dream. It doesn't let the present be good for everyone. No, look, if I get in, politically it will get worse at first, but then it will get better. This is a religious story. After death, you'll have a street of gold, and now you only give me tithes as an offering. It's the same story, the same joke, the same nonsense. Now let's go back. Citizen thing, money growing inside you. And you in your religiosity, you give offerings and tithes to your community. But you don't need to chase money because money grows within you, but you'll do your engineering and medical work and earn more for it. And you'll enter the market and have a much greater economic metabolism, and there won't be any shortages. And this metabolism and the state's concern is simply to prevent inflation from occurring in these places. And you'll maintain your church, your religious community, your ideological community too, that's fine, but this community doesn't intend to invade and dominate everything and become billionaires. And it will allow every individual from birth to death to have a good dream of well-being, of well-being. What a good dream indeed. Now, not tomorrow, because you deserve to live well now. This now is all you have. You don't have tomorrow. You can reflect on what you did in the past. It's your legal system. You can plan what you'll do tomorrow or in the future. It's your system, it's your memories planning, but you only have the now, and your now needs to be good. And your dream with your eyes open needs to be good, and it is good. Try to change the information that's coming into your head. Try to see the reality of the things happening around you. Don't accept too much what people tell you, what they say happened, or what came across the internet with 10 million views. That's what's happening. That's what's being paid to happen. It's not what's happening. And when it's paid to happen, it happens in your head and in the heads of a lot of people who start dreaming of a reality that doesn't exist. Yes, but it doesn't exist and it gives you votes. And it puts those in Congress who now don't want their crimes investigated because organized crime has managed to get into our heads, also controlling the information system we have on the internet and even on radio and television. Folks, that's what I wanted to leave you with. And always be prepared. Before bed, 1 hour before bed, sleep hygiene, no coffee, coffee until noon, afternoon, no more coffee, alcohol until 4 o'clock if you drink it in the afternoon. Don't drink before bed, eat a lot, no, because otherwise it will cause a lot of problems. Don't focus on sleep, relaxation, peace, stretching, a warm, nice bath, and you will have good dreams of well being, good dreams of deep well being. It's not tomorrow, it's today, it's now.